teaches is a little formula called SW, 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 SW. She said, some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. In other words, you go out there, some people are going to say yes, some people are going to say no. So what? Keep asking, someone's waiting. So 144 rejections for our book. If we'd given up after 100, I would not be sitting here. You wouldn't know who I am. I wouldn't be in India today. But we didn't stop asking. So she just asked. You just keep asking. You know, there are 7 billion people on the planet right now. Somebody wants to support what you're doing. Somebody wants to say yes. In a kidding way, I often say, think of the least desirable person you know, and more than likely they're married. Somebody said yes. It's like, there's somebody for everybody, right? But if you don't ask, you'll never get a yes. Now, I teach that if you ask for something and you don't get it, you weren't any worse off than you were before. Pooja, is that your name? So let's say I would ask Pooja to have dinner with me tonight in front of all you people, and she would say no. And everyone would go, ooh, Jack got rejected in front of 100 people. That's really bad. But think about it. My life didn't get worse. I didn't have anyone to eat dinner with before I asked her. I don't have anyone to eat dinner with after I asked her. My life stayed the same. And most people are so afraid of rejection. But rejection only exists in your mind. It's not really a reality. And so if there's nothing to lose and something to gain, you may as well ask. A friend of mine is a salesperson. He was trying to get a meeting with a person to sell him some very expensive product, like a piece of machinery for his company. And for a year, he was trying to get a meeting, couldn't get it. He did every trick he knew. He would take roses to the secretary on her birthday. He would send candles and perfume and things, trying to get sweet talk the secretary to make an appointment. Never could get one. One day he was there, showed up to try to talk her into getting an appointment for him, and there was no one sitting at her desk. And she thought, oh my gosh. He thought, behind that door is the man I want to talk to. If I go in that room right now, what's the worst that can happen? He'll throw me out. Where will I be then? I'll be in the hall. Where am I now? I'm in the hall. Can't get worse. So he just knocked on a door and walked in, introduced himself to the president of the company, said, I just need 2 minutes of your time. The guy didn't know that he wasn't supposed to be there because his secretary wasn't out front. Ended up being a 30-minute meeting, and he sold them over $1 million worth of machinery over the next couple of years. Because he was willing to what? Simply put himself out there and ask. So that's one of the principles of success. You've got to ask. Now go back to Chicken Soup for the Soul. How did it get this title? Well, I guess asked that a lot. In fact, I was being interviewed in the car on the way over here, stuck in traffic, which is why we were late, by a woman named Bella at the Times of India. And she said, where did the title come from? And the title came this way. We did not have a title. We were ready to go to New York and sell our book. We had all these great stories that give you goosebumps, stories that make you cry. We were really excited about it. And they said, you have to have a title. So I am very spiritual, and so I said, I'm going to ask God for a title. So for 3 days, I meditated. And the first day, nothing happened. Just sat there. My mind was a blank. Nothing came in. Second day, mind wandered. Nothing came in. Third day, about 10 minutes into the hour-long meditation, I saw this chalkboard, like at school, where you write words on at school. And this hand came out and wrote chicken soup on it. And I thought, what the heck does chicken soup have to do with our book? And then this voice, which I assumed was God, said, when you were a young child, your grandmother gave you chicken soup when you were sick. If you had a cold or flu, it's kind of the elixir in America. If you're sick, give them chicken soup, And so I thought, oh, okay, chicken soup. But I said, this book's not about sick people. And then this voice said, people's spirits are sick. People are living in fear and hopelessness and resignation, much like a lot of people in the world now. There was a recession going on. This was when the first Gulf War, when Iraq invaded Kuwait and America got involved, and a lot of the money went to the war, and there was a recession that resulted from that. And so I thought, chicken soup for the spirit. It didn't quite ring right. I went, chicken soup for the soul. And then I got goosebumps. I told my wife. She got goosebumps. I called Mark Victor Hansen, the co-author on all my books. He got goosebumps. Told my agent, he got goosebumps. We went to New York, 22 publishers. Nobody got goosebumps. They said, sorry, we don't get it. So it went on, as I said, 144 rejections, and eventually someone did say, we'll publish the book. And we said, well, do we get an advance? Because often they'll give you an advance, like, on the book. And he said, no, we don't do advances. But we'll give you, I think it was $1, we'll give you 20 cents of every dollar. So the book, we got $1.20 because the wholesale cost was $6. And we said, how many books do you think you'll sell by Christmas? And he said, oh, we'll be lucky to sell 20,000 copies over the life of the book. And we said, that's not our dream. He said, what's your dream? We said, well, we want to sell 150,000 by Christmas. We want to sell 1.5 million in a year and a half. Now, have you ever shared your dream with someone and had them laugh out loud at you? Our publisher laughed. He said, you guys are crazy. He said, no, we're entrepreneurs. We think we can do this. Long story short, we sold 135,000 by Christmas, 1.3 million by year and a half. And that book, thank you. That book went on to sell 10 million copies in the United States. And now, and I just learned this recently, the Chicken Soup for the Soul series has, I can't even believe this, 500 million copies in print. 500 million copies. And the Chinese are responsible for 325 million of those. What happened was they got a hold of our books, made a deal. We have now 225 book titles in the series. And they have made them into textbooks for kids where they print the stories in English on one page, Chinese on the other, so they can teach the children how to read English. This is part of their learn to read English thing. And that's now probably a good portion of that, probably 150 million of those are in the schools. We had set a goal, this is important. Research shows that only 3% of people in developed countries, like India, China, the US, Europe, etc., set measurable, specific goals every year. 3%. We also know, in America, I don't know what it is here in India, that 3% of the people own 90% of the resources. So there's some correlation there. People that set goals, research says, have 44, how to say this? If you don't set goals, the things you want in life, only 4% of people get them. If you set goals, I want to do this by this date, I want to weigh 80 kilos, be one of my goals right now, by a certain time, let's say June 30th, 2012, then what happens, the 13, make it longer, you can enjoy myself longer, right? So what happens is that when you set that goal, it tells your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, figure out how to make this happen.